Back here in Indianapolis, time to turn our attention to the Ohio State Buckeyes. And we were talking at the very beginning of the show, Megan McEwen was saying there would have been 8 Big Ten women's teams in the NCAA tournament if Ohio State was eligible. They were that good. Oh, by the way, they brought in a great recruiting class. They're bringing in a star transfer in Taylor Mikesell. And they got some really talented players back, like Jacy Sheldon, who led the team with 16 points a game. Braxtin Miller played more minutes than anybody on their team, couldn't have been much more valuable. They are here in Indianapolis alongside their head coach, Kevin McGuff, who joins us now at the desk. The start of the year, you guys went on a winning streak. The end of the year, you went on a bit of a losing streak. How challenging was it to keep everyone motivated when that carrot on the end of the stick of the postseason just wasn't available to you guys?
You know, it was really difficult, but I think it's a real testament to all the success we did have to our players' character. Because they could have mailed it in early, and they didn't. They really competed. They played for each other, and I thought we had a very successful season. We struggled a little bit at the end, especially when our point guard Madison was out. We didn't quite execute the same and look the same, feel the same. But overall, our kids did a great job.
You were a top 10 scoring team in the country last year. How come?
Well, we play fast. We've got really good players on the offensive end. That really speaks to our identity. We want to be one of the fastest teams in the country, be one of the most aggressive teams in the country, be one of the most well-conditioned teams in the country. And it's just kind of who we are and a bit of the fabric of our program.
Braxtin, you transferred from Oklahoma State because you love OSU schools. How long did it take you to feel comfortable, to feel like this was the right move for me? I feel at home here.
You know, right away I think that I felt comfortable and that I made the right decision. I think I really started coming into my own self and playing with more confidence and how I think I am not until really last year. Still contributed my junior year here, but just more feeling like myself last year. But right away when I got here from the very beginning, I felt at home and comfortable.
That's pretty lucky. Yeah. Right away? I mean, I would expect it to be 4 or 5 months or something like that. But
no, for
right
sure.
Away.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Jacy, your coach told me last year he thinks you're a perfectionist. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I am pretty hard on myself here and there.
Do you ever have to fight, or pardon me, do you ever have to avoid fighting like an off night? Because if you have a bad night and you're a perfectionist, I would bet that sticks with you for a while.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't say I struggle with that. I think something I tell myself, shooting-wise, law of averages, if I have a bad shooting night one night, you know, the next day I'm going to make everything. I kind of keep that in my head and keep my confidence up.
Mentioned on that graphic there, Taylor Mikesell is coming into the team this year. What does she bring?
Well, you know, she transferred from Oregon, and we're still working on to see if she'll be eligible to play or not. So we don't have any decisions on that. But she's an incredible shooter, one of the best three-point shooters in the country. So with just, I think, with our style of play and the spacing and the speed that we play with, she should be able to get a lot of three-point shots, and she's very, very accurate.
Top 2 rebounders last year are gone. I assume that's one of the focal points in the next month or so?
That is a huge point of emphasis for us. Before we started practice this year, we kind of laid out like where we needed to go from an identity standpoint, the things that were going to be really important for us to have this season. I think we're capable of having. Rebounding was number 1 on the list, and it's going to be a collective effort. We need all hands on deck at that.
Yeah. Jacy, does anyone talk more than Braxtin on the court?
Braxtin's definitely, she's a great leader. I would say no, Braxtin's definitely up there when talking, but she keeps us in check. She keeps everybody, you know, responsible for each other, and she definitely, she's a leader out there.
Is that true? You the biggest talker?
I'm probably the biggest talker, yes.
And one of the things I'll add, too, is Braxton's got a very, very high basketball IQ.
Yeah.
And so she does a great job really, you know, helping coach the team, coach the players, the younger players, and really helping them understand what we do and how we do it.
You know what's interesting is I suppose last year being a vocal leader mid-game was actually easier because there were no fans.
Yes.
Right? That's going to be
Yes.
different this season.
No, definitely different. It was a lot easier to be able to hear, you know, in so many big games when the crowd is crazy. Communication is even more important because you can't hear. So it was really nice being able to constantly hear and talk to anyone at any time. We'll have to make sure that we have that together this year. I'll have to strain my voice a little bit. So.
Let me have each of you give me someone who we're not talking about on your team that we should be talking about. Let me start with you, Jacy.
Yeah, I think Madison Green is an excellent basketball player and an even better person. Me and her are really close. We played each other in high school, and now it's obviously a lot more fun playing with her. But she's a hard worker. She's leads by example. She's a quiet person, but she's a great player.
What about you, Braxtin?
I think this is such a hard question because I think we have so many people that I think are bringing so many different things. I think we have freshmen coming in that are bringing crazy, athleticism and energy. I think in like Rebecca and, Taneo, we're going to see two different styles of post play that they're both just really good at what they do, and I can't wait to watch them come into their own this year, and Madison, and so I think we have so many people that it's going to be amazing to watch them play this year.
And I would add to what Braxtin said. I think, obviously you talked about the rebounding and, we lost some post players. But with Tanea and Rebecca, they both had great off seasons and are working really hard, and they look really good out there. And I think they're going to really step up with this opportunity to play more. And I think you're going to see great things out of them.
What's it like coaching Jacy?
Easy.
Yeah.
So I think as much as anything, obviously she's a joy to coach. She's always in the gym. She works incredibly hard. She's upbeat. She's positive, and she loves to compete.
Where did Braxtin improve the most last season?
Well, I think if you go back to her first year here, we had one of the youngest teams in the country, and it really kind of speaks to who she is as a leader and as a person. She had to spend so much time really with helping the kids on the court, like really understand what we were trying to do. It kind of, I think, a little bit took away from her game, and so just the fact that everybody else kind of grew up allowed her to really play her game a little bit more.
Yeah. We haven't had a chance to talk to a team about this yet, but this league is ridiculous this year. We were talking at the top. It's probably going to be the best year in the history of the conference. There have been national articles already written about how it's the best conference in the country this year. What is it like for you to be on the court and going, okay, sure, we had Caitlin Clark last game, but it's Ashley Owusu this game. It's Naz Hillman the next game. Like, it's just day after day. There's talent you're facing.
Definitely. It keeps us disciplined. The Big Ten is, like you said, one of the best conferences out there. And to go out every night and have, you can't really have a bad game. You're going to get beat. So the focus has to be there. The hard work has to be there. But like you said, it's one of the best. So we look forward to those matchups. So it's definitely what makes it so much fun.
I think that it's, a huge blessing because at the end of the day, you sometimes stop and think like, I'm in it too. Like what does that speak about, us and our team as well? And that's awesome, and you have to bring it every night and challenge yourself every night and compete every night, and it creates a super fun and intense environment that is awesome to play in.
I would also add that we have the distinct pleasure of Carrie Kenny loving to give us the most difficult schedule in the Big Ten on a yearly basis. So not only is this going to be an incredible year for the league, we're going to play the toughest schedule again.
Yeah, once again, Carrie Kenny, show your face. All right, thank you three very much. Have a great year, all right?
Thank you.
Dave?
Wow, just got called out there. Let's turn our attention to the men. Ohio State, E.J. Liddell coming back for his junior year after a season that saw the Buckeyes get as high as number 4 in the nation. They were a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, but without Kyle Young, they got knocked out early on. As you can see, they've added some transfers, including a couple from within the Big Ten. Good recruiting haul as well for Coach Chris Holtmann, who joins us now, along with 2 members of his front court, E.J. Liddell and Kyle Young, the aforementioned. Hello, fellas. Good to have all 3 of you here with me. Let's start with last year. Put a bow on it for us, if you would. There was so much success during the course of the year. I know it didn't end the way you wanted it to. How do you kind of put it in perspective?
Yeah, it was a difficult ending after a really, really good regular season, a good run to the Big Ten championship game where we came up a little short in overtime. But, when you're a 2 seed, obviously that says something about the body of your work throughout the season. Hopefully we can remain healthy. I love having these guys next to me. They are, one's going into his 5th year, one's going into his 3rd. They've been really good players. Obviously, EJ had a breakout year last year, so excited about what's coming.
Fellas, what's your perspective on last year as you look to move on? EJ, we'll start with you.
I don't take last year as a failure or anything, and we're not going to let one game define us as a team. So I feel like we're going to build off of that. Last year was a really good year, and we're going to build off that and what I've learned and what other guys have learned, and just going to take that with us and just keep grinding. So,
Kyle, how rough was it to be on the sideline and have to watch that after the way that you fought back from so many injuries during the course of the year?
Yeah, it was tough. As an athlete and as a competitor, you want to be out there, fighting with your guys. So When I wasn't able to be out there with them, it hurt. But, like we said, it's something, the way the year ended, it was something we take and we learn from it and we get better.
So let's spin it ahead. And one of the ways you got better is adding some players. I look at this front court, and most people in the Big Ten would love to have this group, right? And then you add Joey Brunk, and, of course, you have Zed Key as well. So to me, the strength starts up front with this team. What does it mean to have the talent and the depth you've got up there?
Well, as you said it, Dave, we have some established guys who've really been productive Big Ten players in these two guys, and now we have a guy like Zed who's growing as a sophomore, Joey Brunk, who really did some good things on the good Indiana team a couple years ago. So you're right. I think our depth is good across the board, but it's probably best on the interior. We're going to play a little bigger this year. Maybe won't be quite as dynamic offensively, but it should balance us some defensively. I'm really excited about this group.
This was not one of your better defensive teams last year, and that is a core part of who you are.
Yep.
So I'll ask you first, and then I want to hear from the guys. How do you get better on that end of the court?
I think just like when, the ending of the season, we've talked about owning it. You got to own it, and we have to also own our defensive performance. We had an elite offense last year, 4th in the country, really dynamic. These guys, the versatility, the positions, the things that they could do. But defensively, we've got to own the fact that we weren't quite good enough. We weren't good enough last year, and we've got to get better on that end. That's collectively, and it begins with our collective leadership. And I've got to do a better job making sure we're consistent on that end.
How do you get better, EJ, on the defensive end as a team?
Just the details. You got to focus in on the details and practice and do it every day. Just consistently do it every day. And Coach told us it takes 21 days to build a habit. So I'm just going to keep consistently pounding and listening to the details. So.
What are the habits you guys are trying to build, Kyle?
EJ really hit on it, just the day-to-day work, but it's really communication's been big for us on the defensive end. When you get tired, when you get fatigued, teams tend to not talk as much, and that's something for us. The communication keeps us together, keeps us working, so defense is something we've already really focused on specifically. I think that'll be huge for us throughout this year and kind of determine our success throughout the end of the season.
I want to ask you both about your decisions to come back. Kyle, I'm going to start with you. Mm-hmm. You had the concussion issues, which we talked about last year, and so you opted to use this extra year that you've got. How important was it to you to kind of go out on your own terms?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of end on my own note, just like you said. Not being able to play those final games with the guys really, took a piece of me. And, deciding to come back, it came down to, how much I love Ohio State, how much I love these guys, the coaching staff, playing in front of Buckeye Nation, and being close to my family as well. I'm close to home, so having my family be there for games is a special thing for me, and it was just an opportunity that I couldn't pass up on.
EJ, how about for you? I know you gave some thought to, hey, do I make a jump here? It seems you've transformed your body, by the way.
I appreciate that.
It looks like you put a lot of work into that. What was kind of the balancing act of, hey, there are some things I can improve on? I'm guessing that was part of it, versus there is the temptation out there to know you can make that jump.
Yeah, no doubt. It was just improving whatever was best for me at the time. And I felt like coming back to school was going to be the best for me. And like Kyle said, playing in front of Buckeye Nation again, I was looking forward to that too. Can't wait for that. And just been working on my body and just my well-being. So,
yeah, what did you do?
Nutrition. Yeah, just eating better, nutrition, and as like Coach said, working. So.
Yeah. All right, what else? So it seems to me the other thing in your game is to continue to expand the perimeter, right, where you took some huge steps last year. Is that the other thing that you're hearing in terms of what you need to work on?
Yeah, no doubt. It's just getting better at things I'm good at. Just raise my three-point percentage higher. I don't have to be a totally different player, but just the fact of just getting better every day with everything I'm doing. So.
There's this interesting balancing act, I think, with players now, Chris, and you're put in these situations as a coach where you turn into an advisor.
Yeah.
What is that balancing act like, and what are the discussions you have with Kyle about his decision to come back, with EJ about his, with Dwayne who decided not to? What are those conversations?
I tell you, Dave, I think it really begins from day one. Like they have, as soon as, really in the recruiting process, there's a trust level built up throughout you coaching that player. There's a trust built up so that they fully understand, their family understands you ultimately want what's best for them. And EJ and Kyle, they're incredible examples right now, I think, of young men who could have decided to move on. but they really love this place. They love this university. They know we've had a really good success, and they're anxious to get to another level with our success. They love Ohio State, and I think it's they're two of the best kids I've ever coached. They came back for the right reasons. EJ understands there's some sharpening to his game he has to continue to grow in. But really, I tried to take a step back. He's got an incredible family. Kyle has an incredible family. They helped him process those decisions, and they came back for all the stuff you would want a college player to come back for.
So that's the front court. Give me a sense of the back court. You have some voids there,
We
no
do.
doubt. Right? Dwayne Washington, C.J. Walker.
Yeah.
What's that group going to look like?
Yeah, we lost our backcourt. Obviously, Dwayne's here in this city right now. I was just texting with him. He was going to a lift with the Pacers. And then C.J. Walker is now overseas. So we lost our backcourt. I think we have some answers we can find there. We have some young guys that have to grow into those positions. And then we have this little dude that kept stealing our ball every time we played him twice a year at Penn State that now is on our side. So it's good to have him around.
Yeah, what role do you see for Jamari Wheeler on this team?
I think he's going to have to set the tone for us defensively with his on-ball pressure. I think he's going to have to be a guy that's he's an everyday guy. He competes. Offensively, there's some things he's got to continue to grow in, but he has an everyday approach that's really contagious.
We need to get better defensively. Where can we go to do that? That seems like that one might work out pretty well for you.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Shrewd on your part. Yeah. Chris Holtmann, EJ Liddell, Kyle Young, thank you so much, guys. Best of luck
Thanks,
this
Dave.
year.
Appreciate it, Dave. Thanks.